What holds people back from studying Bitcoin? I don't think Bitcoin is particularly difficult to understand. There are a lot of things that you have to know, of course, but if you learn for 10, 15, 20 minutes a day, after a year, you're going to know a lot. So it's not the education part, it's not the amount of knowledge that you have to have. I think what holds people back from studying Bitcoin, from buying Bitcoin, is their ego. They believe something. That's their sense of who they are. It's who they've built themselves to be. And Bitcoin challenges that. They don't want to face that challenge. They want to continue to believe that who they are is who they are. They can't change it. They want to continue to believe that who they were in the past was correct. They made the right decisions. So Bitcoin is a test of your ego. People don't want to study Bitcoin. They don't want to put in the time to learn about Bitcoin because they believe that they're doing things the right way and nothing else can challenge the way that they're doing things. So they want to continue living their life the exact same way that they did in the past. And in this video, I want to show you a clip of Peter Schiff. When you listen to what he's saying, it's going to make you think about how much he actually understands about what he's talking about. He has a specific way of looking at the world, and he doesn't want to let that go. He has this way of thinking that gold is better than Bitcoin. And he will do whatever he can to convince you that gold is better than Bitcoin. And he'll do whatever he can to convince you that Bitcoin is going to zero. So let's watch the video. I'll give you some commentary along the way. This is a clip from Impact Theory, which is this guy's podcast, Tom Bilyeu. Really great podcast. He has really amazing guests on. This is a conversation between Peter Schiff and Raoul Pal. Peter Schiff is, of course, talking about gold. Raoul Pal is talking about Bitcoin and crypto. When you're listening to this clip, I don't want you to just focus on what he's saying, but also how he's saying it. What is his deeper message? I think that he's very condescending in this video. He's trying to tell people that because they're young, they don't quite understand what they're doing. So just listen to the elders and your parents and your grandparents. So let's listen to what he says.
Yeah, but it's all part of the speculation of Bitcoin. It's not about wearing your jewelry. But again, gold is a conductor of electricity. It is the best conductor we know. It's the best conductor we have. It's used for all sorts of things in electronics. It's used in medicine. It's used in dentistry. It would be used more if the price was lower.
Okay, so the very first thing that he says there, he says that gold is valuable and it should be used as money because people expect to be able to use it in the future. That's essentially what money is. When you have the US dollar, for example, you save in the US dollar because you expect that people will want it from you at some point in the future. You'll be able to exchange it for goods and services. You'll be able to exchange it for a car, a house, whatever you want to buy. You'll be able to give away that dollar and you'll be able to get what you want to in exchange for it. Let's say you want a little bit of gold. Let's say you want oil. You want to pay for gas in your car. You can pay for basically whatever you want with that dollar. And that's why people save dollars. So what Peter Schiff is saying here is that the reason why people save in gold is because gold has a physical use. You can use gold in conducting electricity, you can use it in medicine, you can use it in all these different industries. And because of that, gold will continue to be valuable forever. And he ended off with saying that if gold were cheaper, then it would be used a lot more because gold is the best material if you want to use it in certain applications. Gold is supposed to be one of the best conductors of electricity, and its advantage over other precious metals is that it doesn't tarnish. So he's saying that gold will have a use case no matter what, even if we don't use it as money.
But the price is high. But the reason that the price is high is when you own gold, you are storing the future use of that gold 1,000 years from now.
I think at this point, Peter Schiff is starting to question himself because he thinks that the world will be the same as what it is today. In 1,000 years, you'll be able to use gold for certain applications, and he's assuming that the price will remain high because people will continue to use it as a store of value because it has all of these applications. What I don't think Peter understands here is that the store of value use case of gold is separate from the industrial use case of gold. Gold can be used for all of its industrial purposes, but it doesn't have to be used as a store of value because gold doesn't really work as money in the digital economy.
Somebody could use that gold to conduct electricity. You don't know what they're going to use it for. I talked about this telescope that we sent into space, this Hubble telescope, and they had to coat these huge mirrors with gold. Now, that was very expensive. They didn't want to coat it with gold, but that was the only metal that was going to work. So they had to buy gold to coat these mirrors. So when you own gold, you own all those properties. Those properties are not going to go away over time, and you're storing them for future use. Bitcoin doesn't have anything that anybody uses for anything. I mean, as long as people want to gamble on it, there's a price. But people don't have to buy gold for money. There's always going to be people who need gold in industry who are going to be buying it.
I think the most important thing that he can't wrap his head around is that Bitcoin separates money from utility. So instead of using gold as money on a Bitcoin standard, we'll just use gold for its industrial purposes. We'll use it for whatever we need it for. We'll use it in conducting electricity. We'll use it for jewelry. We'll use it for whatever we need, fillings for teeth, whatever we need. In fact, we'll be able to use it more because gold will be in much higher supply. Instead of just hoarding as much gold as they can in their safe, in their bank, in their safety deposit box, people will sell their gold. They'll get rid of it because gold will only be valuable for its industrial purposes and it'll only be valuable for jewelry. We won't need to use it as a store of value anymore on a Bitcoin standard because Bitcoin is the best store of value. You can use Bitcoin to send and receive value anywhere in the world. That's the purpose of money. Before Bitcoin, there was never any asset that could separate the store of value function of money from utility. We've always used things that we need in our day to day lives as money because of what Peter is saying here, because they have some kind of use in the future and they'll always have some kind of use. Gold has proven itself to be useful for thousands of years. There are other things that we used as money before. Let's say, for example, shells. They don't have any real utility. Of course, they're heavy. Maybe you can use them as a paperweight, but how many shells do you really need as a paperweight? Gold has basically unlimited uses in our current economy. And that's perfectly fine. What he's saying is that we should maintain the current structure where the store of value function is intertwined with utility. What Bitcoin does is it separates the utility function from the store of value function. It's the first thing that's ever done this. Bitcoin is a paradigm shift. To understand how it works, you have to completely rewire your brain. You have to look at the world completely differently. You can't look at the world the same way that we looked at it 10, 20, 50 years ago. Before Bitcoin existed, there was no way to separate the store of value function from utility. That's the problem. Today, we use houses as a store of value because we know that people will want to rent them in the future. But what if we separated that store of value function from utility? People wouldn't buy houses as a store of value. They wouldn't speculate on the value of houses going up. Houses would just be used as shelter instead of institutions and individuals as buying as many houses as they can and governments allowing banks to create as much money as they possibly can to let people buy as many houses as they can. We're going to see that people are instead saving in Bitcoin. They're speculating on Bitcoin. All of their speculation goes to Bitcoin. Instead of having to buy more houses than I need, I can just save my excess productivity in Bitcoin. And think about how many positives this has for the world. Bitcoin is so much deeper than most people think, and that's exactly why I made the Bitcoin Explained community. In this community, we have weekly live sessions where you can ask any questions that you have. I will be there. I'll have other people there to answer questions. It's become more of a community now. We have conversations. People are asking whatever they want to, but then they also have their own time where they can tell their own stories and how they got into Bitcoin. Every weekly live session is recorded and in the classroom, so you can go back and you can watch every single weekly live session since 2024 when Bitcoin was something like $50,000-$60,000. If you're still new to Bitcoin, I think this course is key. It'll help you to accelerate your understanding of Bitcoin by months or even years. The personal finance basics and the personal finance full courses are also key, even if you do understand Bitcoin, because what they'll do is they'll help you make better money decisions that allow you to buy more Bitcoin with your income. We also have the Bitcoin Purchase and Storage Masterclass where you learn how to purchase Bitcoin. You learn the difference between KYC versus non KYC Bitcoin, how to store your Bitcoin securely, and you, of course, learn UTXO management. Along with all of this exclusive content, we also have the community section where you can look through old posts. You can start discussions with people. You can ask questions and other people can answer them. All of this is included in the Bitcoin Explained community. It's $20 a month. If you want to join the community and you want to try it out for 7 days, you can get a free Bitcoin ebook. It's included in the community. The link is in the description below.
And central banks, yes, central banks buy it as a monetary asset because they need something to back up their fiat.
Bitcoin eliminates the need for central banks. Today, we have central banks because they need to control rate policy. They need to create more money. On a Bitcoin standard, you can't create more money, and the market decides rates. A central bank has no purpose on a Bitcoin standard because everybody can control their own keys. They can control their own wealth. If you want to trust your wealth with someone else, you can have them hold your keys for you. So we don't need central banks anymore. The way that I see it, we're also not going to have banks the way that we have them today. We're not going to need checking accounts, savings accounts. I don't even think fiat is going to exist on a Bitcoin standard, but that's a completely different rabbit hole that I won't go into right now.
Can't just back up one currency with another currency. They need something real. So central banks have been buying more and more gold. They have a lot more that they need to buy because their reserves are still too low. But you don't have that with Bitcoin. You don't have industrial demand. You don't have central bank demand. You don't have jewelry demand. You just
What he said here shows you how completely misinformed he is. There is institutional demand. There's individual demand. There's demand from people who want to save for the future. This demand is going to be there no matter what, because once you understand how Bitcoin works, you're going to always want more. You're not going to want to save your excess productivity in US dollars because you know that US dollars are a melting ice cube. You also won't want to save in gold. Gold doesn't have a finite supply. We have no idea how much gold exists. We have no idea how much gold will exist. The demand for Bitcoin comes from people who understand Bitcoin, who want to store value on the internet, the people who want to send and receive value on the internet. People like Peter Schiff don't really care about that because they haven't been around the internet their entire lives. The way that things work today in the physical world is how they've seen the world work in the past. So they want to continue living in that world. It's worked for them. They're okay with it. But for newer generations, the old way of doing things doesn't work anymore. We don't want central banks because central banks create as much money as they want to. They lower interest rates so that the economy doesn't collapse. They want house prices to go up, and newer generations are the ones that suffer from this because house prices have 10x'd while incomes have maybe doubled. This is a result of more and more people speculating on real estate and buying real estate and the store of value function being connected to the utility function of everything that we have.
have speculative demand. And that's very fickle. Yeah, if the market's going up, the speculators will buy. Starts going down, they're going to want to get out.
This is how it works with every asset. Real estate prices go up when more people want it. Real estate prices go down when less people want it. Same thing with gold, same thing with silver, same thing with stocks. What he's saying here is that Bitcoin is speculative when literally everything is speculative. Every asset that we have today is speculative.
But eventually the story blows up. People stop believing in the fairy tale. You talk about all these young kids that think they've reinvented the wheel.
This is the part that I was saying where he's being a little condescending. So let's listen to that part again.
You talk about all these young kids that think they've reinvented the wheel and think that they know more than their parents or their grandparents. It's like, look, little kids believe in all sorts of things. They believe in the tooth fairy. They believe in the Easter bunny and Santa Claus, but they don't believe in these things for their whole lives. As they get older, they start to see the truth. And I think the same thing is going to happen with Bitcoin. People are going to grow up and they're going to learn from the mistakes of their youth.
That part right there made me angry. I'm not going to lie. It makes me want to see him fail. It makes me want to see him not buy Bitcoin so that the price keeps running away from him. And by the time he figures it out, he can barely even get a million Satoshis. I want to see that happen because of that statement. That was a show of his ego. He's telling you that he knows what the right thing is and you don't. He has the experience in the markets and you don't. You have no idea what you're talking about because you don't have his education, you don't have his knowledge, you don't have his experience. And because you don't have those things, whatever you say is irrelevant. This reminds me of something that happened in my own personal life. In 2022, I told somebody that I know to buy half a Bitcoin, to one Bitcoin, whatever he could afford. I told him, buy it. He's pretty wealthy. He does really well with markets. He understands how the stock market works. He has the money, but he didn't want to put it into Bitcoin because he thinks that I don't know what I'm talking about. He's quite a bit older than me. He's in his late 60s now. And of course, this comes back to what Peter Schiff was saying. You young people keep playing with your toys while I deal with the real things. He basically told me that he's going to continue buying real estate. He's going to continue buying stocks. He's going to continue buying index funds, whatever he wants to, whatever has worked for him. And he doesn't want to play these games. He had no idea what Bitcoin was. He hadn't put any time into understanding what it was. He hadn't read a single book. At that time, I had gone pretty deep into studying Bitcoin. I had put in some time. I hadn't been quite orange pilled yet, but I did understand what it was and what it could potentially do in the future. He thought that because I'm younger than him, I don't know what I'm talking about. And this is probably something that a lot of people experience when they try to orange pill their parents, their grandparents, their uncles, their aunts. I'm not generalizing here. I'm not saying that everybody is like this. Of course, I know there are people who are willing to listen to younger people, but I've noticed that a lot of older people don't want to listen to people who are younger than them. They want to stick to what they know and they want to stick to what they believe, and they don't even realize it. They just think that this is the way that I know the world to be, and this is the way it'll be forever. But younger people are a connection with how things are happening today. Whenever I speak to younger people, I see that they have a different way of looking at the world. They don't want to own houses. They don't want to be stuck in a certain area. They want freedom. They want to be able to move wherever they want to. They don't care about jewelry. They don't really care about gold. Why would they want to store a rock in their bank when instead they could own Bitcoin? To them, Bitcoin is the best thing in the world. It's the best way to save because they understand the value of being on the internet all the time and being able to transact whenever you want to. Why would they want to hold a physical rock when even the currencies that they use are no longer physical? They do everything with a card. They don't even touch their cash. They get paid and they pay for their bills. They pay for whatever they want to. They don't take money out of their bank accounts anymore. So why would they go back to physical money when even their government doesn't want them to believe that money should be physical? Why wouldn't they go into Bitcoin? If you still haven't put in the effort to study Bitcoin, I would highly recommend that you do it. Put in the time. I guarantee you that you will see something, you'll learn something, you'll figure something out that will change how you look at the world. Put in the time now so that in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, you're not regretting it. Peter has ignored Bitcoin since it was $1. He will continue to ignore it until it's a million, until it's 10 million, until it's $100 million. Study Bitcoin now so that in the future you're not regretting it. Let go of your ego. Bitcoin is completely changing money as we know it. If you're not on this train, you're going to be left behind.